Imagine you got a raise today. Not a small one, a genuinely good raise. Enough to feel meaningful, enough to change things. You have worked hard for it, you deserve it, and when that first bigger salary lands in your account, the feeling is real. You did it. Now fast forward 12 months. Your income is higher, noticeably higher than it was a year ago. But here's the strange thing. You do not feel any richer. You do not have significantly more saved. The stress around money has not really gone away. In fact, if someone asked you honestly, you would say that life feels about the same as it did before the raise, maybe even a little tighter. How is that possible? Welcome to Wealth Academy. My name is Dilawar, and here we take the money lessons that schools never taught us and turn them into stories that actually stay with you. Today, we're talking about one of the most invisible and dangerous financial traps that exists, one that catches almost everyone at almost every income level, almost every single time income goes up. It is called lifestyle creep, and by the end of this video, you will never look at a raise, a bonus, or any increase in income the same way again. Let me start with a story. There was a young man, let us call him Faisal. When Faisal got his first job at 23, he lived simply. A modest rented room with 2 flatmates, home-cooked meals most days, public transport everywhere, a basic phone that did the job. Friday evenings were simple, tea with friends, maybe a small meal out occasionally. Life was tight but manageable, and honestly, in many ways, quite good. Then, over the next few years, Faisal's career moved forward. Salary increases came, first a small one, then a more meaningful one, then a promotion with a genuinely significant jump in pay. Each time, Faisal felt the satisfaction of progress. He was moving up. Things were improving. But here's what also happened, so gradually that Faisal never noticed it as a single decision. When the first raise came, the shared room started to feel a little cramped. He deserved his own space now, didn't he? So he moved into a small apartment of his own. The rent was higher, but the salary could handle it. Reasonable. When the next increase came, cooking at home every day started to feel like too much after long work hours. Ordering in a few times a week seemed fair. He had earned that comfort. And the amounts were small individually, a few hundred rupees here and there, nothing dramatic. The basic phone had served him well for 3 years, but it was slowing down. With a better salary now, upgrading made sense. Not the most expensive model, just something decent, a reasonable decision. Weekend plans quietly changed, too. Tea with friends became dinners at nicer places. Occasional treats became regular habits. The clothing budget expanded without any specific decision being made. The gym membership was added. The streaming subscriptions accumulated, each one individually small, each one individually justified, each one feeling completely reasonable in the moment. And 5 years after that first job, Faisal was earning almost 3 times what he had started with. 3 times, and he was saving almost exactly the same amount in absolute rupees as he had saved as a 23-year-old on his first salary. Every raise had been swallowed, every bonus had disappeared, every increase in income had been instantly matched or slightly exceeded by an increase in how much life cost. He had not made any single terrible financial decision. He had made hundreds of small, completely reasonable ones, and together they had silently stolen every bit of financial progress his career had given him. This is lifestyle creep. And Faisal's story is not unusual. It is one of the most common financial experiences of people in their 20s and 30s across the world. So why does this happen? Why is lifestyle creep so universal and so difficult to notice? The answer lies in how human beings naturally experience change. We do not measure our lives against an absolute standard. We measure them against what we're used to. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. It is the built-in human tendency to return to a baseline level of satisfaction, regardless of what changes in our circumstances. When Faisal moved into his own apartment, it felt genuinely wonderful, spacious, private, a real upgrade. But within 3 months, it just felt like home, normal. The baseline shifted upward, and from that new baseline, the old shared room now felt unthinkably cramped rather than perfectly manageable as it had actually been. This happens with almost everything. The new phone feels extraordinary for a few weeks, and then it just feels like a phone. The nicer restaurant feels like a treat the first few times, and then it becomes the normal expectation. The lifestyle upgrade delivers a real feeling of improvement briefly, and then disappears into the new normal. And here's where the financial damage occurs. The feeling of improvement fades, but the cost does not. The higher rent continues every month. The subscriptions continue every month. The elevated spending habits continue every month. The emotional reward has long since dissolved, but the financial commitment remains permanently. So you reach for the next upgrade, and the cycle continues. This is why people at every income level can feel financially stressed. It's not about how much you earn, it's about the gap between what you earn and what your lifestyle costs. And lifestyle creep works very hard, very quietly, to close that gap completely, no matter how wide it gets. Now here's the part that makes lifestyle creep especially dangerous compared to other financial mistakes. Most financial mistakes are visible. If you lose money on a bad investment, you see the loss. If you overspend dramatically on something, you notice it. These things create a signal, a moment of awareness, an opportunity to correct course. Lifestyle creep creates no such signal. It moves in increments so small that each one feels justified and reasonable. There is no single moment where you make a clearly wrong decision. There is only a long, quiet, cumulative drift away from financial progress, so gradual that by the time you notice it, years have passed. Faisal did not realize what had happened until he sat down one evening and actually calculated something. He took his current monthly salary and his current monthly expenses and compared them to his first salary and his first expenses from 5 years ago. The ratio was almost identical. He was spending almost exactly the same proportion of his income as he had on his first salary. The absolute amounts were much larger, but the percentage saved had barely moved. He sat with that number for a long time. So what do you actually do about lifestyle creep? How do you protect yourself from something that is so natural, so gradual, and so invisible? The first and most important thing is to make saving automatic before lifestyle has a chance to adjust. This is the most powerful protection against lifestyle creep that exists. Every time your income increases, whether from a raise, a bonus, a freelance payment, or any other source, the first move is not to decide how to spend the extra. The first move is to increase your automatic savings by at least 50% of the increase. Not all of it. You're allowed to enjoy progress. That's fair and human and important. But if your salary increases by 10,000 rupees, 5,000 of that should immediately and automatically flow into savings or investment before your lifestyle ever sees it, before your brain registers it as available, before new wants have a chance to form around it. What your eyes do not see, your lifestyle cannot creep toward. The second thing is to pause before every upgrade. Not to never upgrade. Upgrades are sometimes genuinely right and worth it, but to pause consciously and ask one simple question. Am I choosing this because it genuinely adds meaningful value to my life, or am I choosing it because my income went up and it now feels like the next natural step? That question alone creates the moment of awareness that lifestyle creep depends on never happening. The third thing is to measure your savings rate, not your savings amount. This is what Faisal had never done. He knew his savings amount was growing in absolute rupees, but he had never calculated what percentage of his income he was actually saving. The percentage is what tells the truth.
If your income doubles and your savings amount stays the same in percentage terms, you have made zero real financial progress, regardless of what the absolute number looks like. Track the percentage, protect the percentage, grow the percentage every time income grows. The fourth thing is to give every raise a job before it arrives. When you know an increase is coming, decide in advance exactly where it is going. Not vaguely, specifically. This portion goes to savings, this portion goes to investment, this portion is genuinely available for lifestyle improvement. When the money arrives, it already has a purpose. It is not sitting in your account looking available, inviting your lifestyle to expand around it. Let us go back to Faisal. After that evening of honest calculation, he made some changes. Not dramatic ones. He did not move back to a shared room or sell his phone or stop going out with friends. That was not the point, and it was not realistic or necessary. He increased his automatic savings by a meaningful percentage. He started tracking his savings rate monthly alongside his savings amount. He made a rule for himself. Every future raise, at least half goes to savings before lifestyle sees it. And he started asking that one honest question before any significant upgrade. Is this genuinely adding value, or am I just adjusting to a new normal? 18 months later, for the first time in 5 years, his savings rate was genuinely moving upward, not because his income had jumped dramatically, but because the creep had stopped. The gap between earning and spending had finally started to widen rather than close itself automatically. He told a friend something that stayed with that friend for a long time. He said, "I spent 5 years thinking I was building a better life. I was actually just building a more expensive one. They are not the same thing. A better life and a more expensive life, they are not the same thing." That is perhaps the most important sentence in this entire video, because lifestyle creep convinces you that they are. It tells you that every upgrade is progress, that every increase in spending is an improvement in living, that the natural response to earning more is to spend more. But real progress is not how much your life costs. Real progress is how much freedom your money buys you, how many more options you have, how much less dependent you are on next month's salary, how much closer you are to the life you actually want rather than the life that simply expanded to fill whatever you earned. The raise is real. The progress it represents is real. The question is simply this: will you let it build your future, or will your lifestyle quietly swallow it before you ever had a real choice? If this made you see your own spending patterns differently, write in the comments, "I will protect my next raise." Like the video, subscribe to Wealth Academy, and hit the bell, because next time we go even deeper into the habits that quietly separate people who build real wealth from those who stay stuck no matter how much they earn.